working a little bit, but it's also, you know, there's some play. I started up here where there wasn't much of a crack, and the heat opened up a bigger crack. And I hadn't scrubbed it up here, so it might not be sticking in this area as much as it did back here where I ran that blade up in there. But there's some places here where it's stuck to one side, but because of the heat, it's separated out a little bit. I think what I might do, right up in here where I ran my blade pretty well, oh, it'd be nice if I had a way of pushing down on that, but I don't. I suppose I could just see if I could get this stuff to fill up over in there. I'm going to take my blade. I see a dirty spot on it there. I'm just going to run my little grinder blade over that dirty spot. See if we can get enough of this stuff to stick to it. I want to touch that, but I'm afraid to. Those are go back up into that part down there a little bit. It'd be nice if I had Luke Palioka around to push down on that while I did that. That'd be helpful. I ain't got enough hands to hold that down and get the weld to it at the same time. I'll try a little bit right in here. I'm gonna say it ain't really working. It's kind of like solder. You know, you can melt solder and have it ball up on you, but you have to get the metal hot enough for the metal to melt it in order for it to stick. And this ain't sticking. It's balling up. It's stuck a little bit in a few places, but mostly it's just balling up, and I don't really think it's working. I might need to fabricate a little piece and put on here. There may be somebody around that could weld. I've heard people talk about welding on aluminum with aluminum, what do you call them, arc rods. Mike did it, but this is such thin aluminum, I don't know. I don't know if I got any confidence in anything like that working or not. I could do what other people have done and get me a really good strong epoxy and put on it. Or I could do like they do on TV and spray some of that sticky gook on there, and they say that works, but I have my doubts. I really do. Especially when you got a hole like this. Flex something. Flex a fix or something like that. I wonder what's the difference between this and solder. Might not be any difference. It might be the same thing. I suppose what I could do, I've got some various and sundry different epoxies. I could mix up an epoxy, seal that on both sides, and then take some of that Flex Fix or whatever that spray stuff is and put it on that. Could work. It could. I've also got some of that boat bottom paint that's supposed to help seal things up too. Pretty obvious to me though, everything I did made this worse. This actually came split open more as I heated it up. That wasn't a good idea. I don't know about this stuff. You know, it's hard where it's stuck. I can't imagine why it's stuck up there and didn't stick down here unless it needed more grinding. Get one more of these little rods so I don't burn my fingers. So that time it looked like it was starting to work a little bit. I see where it, you know how on plumbing, if you're welding copper pipes, you put flux on there and it draws the sorter up in there. It looked like it was doing that right up in this area here, which is good. I mean, if that stays hard and it works, then I could do some more of that along. What happened is this rod started getting so hot I couldn't hold it. I need to get some gloves on. Oh, the other thing is, as it heated up, some of the old stuff I had on there was coming loose. I did notice that. Yeah, we'll try a little more. I don't know if y'all can see anything. My gloves was in the way or not, but it seemed like it was working right in here. But then when I turned off the fire, I heard it cracking, and I see some of the places cracking. I don't know if this will hold. This down here, it seems pretty solid. I've hit it with a hammer a few times, and you know what I may do, if this gets a solid connection here, and see where this is wide open. This is wide open all the way down through here. I could see possibly grinding that down a little bit and building a new ridge out of epoxy or something on top of that, if I'm able to get that to stay down. This is probably like a lot of things when it comes to metal work. It's a certain skill required to get it to work. And maybe I'm developing the skill, because it looked pretty promising that last time. I don't know how well stuck this is down here, but it looked like it was going on good. A lot of times with any kind of welding, works better if you kind of grind off a little bit of the, you know, so you get clean metal to try to bond to. On this side, maybe you can see without my hand being in the way. I'll try to do this little area right here. I don't know what other bad spots this boat has on it. That particular one, if there was one I saw leaking, I was thinking I saw a crack back here a while ago. I don't mind doing this, it's kind of fun. Phone's ringing. So I went over and helped somebody with something, and while I was gone, I was thinking about this, and then it kind of occurred to me that this stuff is sticking on the high side, but not on the low side. And of course, heat rises, and also when I have the torch going, this high part may be getting hotter than the lower part. And I thought, well, what if I flip the boat around, set it on its side, so that this stuff, if it melts, would run down in the crack. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to unconnect her, turn her around, lean her up against that sawhorse, and try leaning over on it, and yeah, see if I can get some of that stuff to melt down in the crack. Yeah. Worst thing can happen is it won't work. I think that's working somewhat. It may be not perfect, but you know, all I need for it to do is to attach itself to both sides of the metal, because if both sides of the metal aren't attached, even if you put some kind of epoxy on there, if it moves, it's probably going to break loose. But if this stuff can hold this, I can epoxy over it to put something smooth on the bottom of the boat, anything you have on the bottom of a boat that isn't smooth is going to catch the flow of water. It's going to slow the boat down. It might not seem like much, but I had a boat that was fiberglass one time, and the fiberglass was loose and the water would go up under it. You couldn't hardly push that thing. You couldn't hardly push it through the water. Let me get some more wire. I sort of singed the ends of my gloves there a little bit, so I started holding pieces of wire. I got some little short pieces of this wire. They're too short to hold, but I started holding them with my Weatherman. I think the trick is to get the metal hot enough so that this melts to the metal and not, it's kind of like soldering. When you're soldering, you get the same thing. You got to have it hot enough to melt to the metal and not melt to the soldering iron. I like this little torch, by the way. Well, we'll see. There's some spots where it goes on there real nice. You know, anybody that's ever soldered before knows what it looks like and feels like when it works well, as opposed to when you can tell it ain't working, it's just balling up. This is kind of the same way. Okay, maybe I'll mess with my old boat here some more. I went into town and picked up some epoxy to use on the bottom of this boat. This is the part where I was working on it yesterday. Now, in places this worked, and in places it didn't. Like right in here, that didn't work. And also that crack is kind of opening up again. And it got hot enough to warp a little. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just take some epoxy and go over all this. One nice thing about epoxy, when you have a rough surface like this, it'll probably have lots to get hold of. It'll probably hold on pretty well. Anyway, that's what I'm going to try there. I think what I'm going to do this morning is I've got me some aluminum brightener, which I used to clean this boat the other day, and I was thinking, well, I can't think of anything that would take off what's on there any better than some of that. So I'm going to get some of that and squirt it on there and maybe rub it down a little bit and then rinse it off, and then I'm going to see what things look like. I might wait to do the epoxy when it's warmer. I'm thinking probably 40 or 50.